Claire, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in again this week. I'm going to plant some flowers today, but first I have a few chores I need to take care of. About a month ago, I picked up some seed potatoes from a local plant store, and they are doing a great job with chitting, which is when you allow the tubers to pre-sprout before you actually plant them. I haven't had much luck with growing potatoes in pots for the last couple of years, so I'm trying to do everything I can to help them out this year. I always made sure to use the regular sized ones. However, when I go to harvest them, they're usually the size of a large marble, maybe a little bit bigger than that. This year I'm hoping to focus on making sure I can get the biggest potatoes possible for the varieties that I chose. I like to grow my favorite variety, which are red potatoes. This year I'm using a dark red Norland. And I also like to grow varieties that I can't find in stores. So I'm picking a Purple Majesty, which is going to be a good size purple potato. It has this really beautiful purple flesh too. Already the roots have chitted to the point that they're about an inch or so long. Since they're doing well, I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half and hopefully plant them in a week or two once the potatoes have calloused over. In the past, I've divided them at this stage and then planted them right away. However, I think that by planting them so soon, I've actually caused some issues. And I think that some of them tend to rot when they are exposed to water so soon. So I'm trying to give the potatoes a chance to callus over that raw spot, so that hopefully there won't be any rot issues down the road. I also have an exciting update for the plants that I started indoors. The ones which germinated have done really well. It's been about a month since I've planted them, and already most of the ones that I've planted have already produced 2 sets of true leaves, if not more. So now I'm at the point where I get to fertilize them for the first time. I have had some issues with the overall germination, which I was kind of anticipating but decided to go for it anyways. So all the seeds that I've purchased within the last year or so have germinated. So the cilantro, my kale, most of my lettuce, they've all done great. I'm not worried about them. The seeds that were over a year old, and honestly some of these seeds were probably closer to 3 or 4 years old at this point, just didn't germinate. Which basically means all the herbs that I started except for cilantro. Sometimes when you take a risk and you plant those older seeds, you just don't profit from it, and that's okay. I'm going to cut my losses and I will purchase some herbs from the garden store when it's a bit warmer outside. The seeds that I sowed directly into the pots have done wonderfully. It has been cold, so they haven't grown as quickly as the indoor plants, which is totally normal, but I do have a good range of germinated plants at this point. Most of the radishes, the carrots, and the beets have grown. It looks like my plastic wrap experiment paid off for my carrots. They germinated a lot better than I expected. Even the older rainbow carrot seeds did a pretty good job germinating, and I am really excited to get some decent carrots this year. A critter has gotten into my pots, unfortunately. I believe it's a squirrel. I have quite a few that like to play around my deck and my little garden area. They disturbed enough of the young radishes that it looks like they didn't germinate particularly well. But I do know that the germination rate was closer to 100%, even though I do have a few spots that look like nothing actually germinated. The squirrels have also rummaged around the pots that I prepped last time. I trimmed up my sage, the dead rosemary, and my bay tree, and it looks like that there's been quite a bit of disturbance in the soil, but the plants don't seem to be impacted yet. So I'm just going to keep an eye on them and hope that whatever is digging isn't going to upset their roots too much. It's been in that sweet spot where it's been warm enough that the plants are responding really well, but it's been cool enough that I don't have to water daily. I don't have an outside water spigot, so I have to walk all the way up to my apartment, fill up my watering can, walk all the way down the stairs again, water the plants, and I kind of go up and down a bit. Fortunately, I only have enough plants that I can get by with using just one watering can, but in a few months when I plant more things out, I will have to carry multiple watering cans at once, and I usually have to do a few trips. But you know, I get to have fresh veggies and I get so much joy out of growing plants that is totally worthwhile. With all that said, I am going to run outside now and get my hands dirty and pull up some weeds. I've attempted to keep the weeds under control in this patch and a couple of other places around my apartment. However, it's just a disaster. What I should be doing is placing down landscaping fabric and putting bark on top, or at least have some kind of mulch, but I just don't really have the funds to worry about that at the moment. The goal is to just keep things looking nice enough. The property manager obviously doesn't care too much about keeping everything particularly nice. There is a sea of dandelions right over here. I like dandelions a lot. I'm okay with them, but they do cause issues with taking over spaces where you would like to cultivate. I've had some bulbs planted in here last year that have finally popped up this year. However, they've been completely choked out by the weeds. So the goal is to rescue the plants and to plant new seeds here as well. I want to have a nice pollinator plant patch, so I have borage with me and just a good pollinator mix. And I'm hoping that by the end of today, hopefully in a few weeks, some nice baby plants started to help give those bees a little bit more food during summer. I'm going to go ahead and get weeding, and I'll follow up when I'm done with that. And like that, it is the afternoon, time has flown by, and I am now here. I was surprised by how hot it was. I definitely had to cool down after all that gardening. Took a shower, ran some errands, got my life together, but I'm back here now. I'm quite happy with how the garden looks at this point. I definitely need to stay on top of watering for the next few days due to the sunlight, and unfortunately due to the fact that I'm not putting down mulch at the moment. I hope that the flowers will sprout, but again, I just don't know. I've had bad luck with growing plants in that bed before. I'm not too hopeful if anything will pop up, but if I get a little bit of borage, I'll be quite happy with that. Are you going to grow any flowers this year? If so, let me know what types you are down below. But if you don't have the facilities to plant flowers, what flower would you grow? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please go ahead and like before you leave. And if you want to see if my plants actually survive and if anything germinated, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you again here next week.